The office was quiet, almost unnervingly so. Archie had spent over 8 years working in BPO companies, but this night was different. He arrived an hour early for his training session, around 9 p.m, when most employees hadn't yet trickled in. The building's fluorescent lights cast long, eerie shadows across the empty lobby. He gave a nod to the security guard and stepped into the waiting elevator. The doors were just about to close when a thin, bony hand slipped in to stop them. A man, probably in his early 30s, wearing a faded blue shirt and jeans, stepped inside. He stood silently beside Archie, not saying a word. Archie glanced at the polished elevator doors, catching their reflections. And that's when he froze. The man's smile stretched unnaturally wide, a grin that seemed to reach his ears and sent a cold shiver crawling up Archie's spine. Then the man started whistling. The tune was so familiar, so out of place. Old McDonald had a farm, but it sounded wrong in the hushed, confined space of the elevator. The notes echoed unnaturally, hauntingly. Archie wasn't usually afraid of strangers, but something about this man felt wrong, ominous, as if he was radiating pure malice. Archie's pulse quickened, his heart hammering against his ribs. When the elevator finally reached Archie's floor, he practically bolted out the moment the doors opened. His eyes flicked back for one final, fearful glance at the man. But the elevator was empty. Impossible. He was absolutely sure the man hadn't gotten off before. The doors had never opened for anyone else. And if he had stepped out with Archie, there would have been the sound of footsteps on the tiled floor. But there was nothing, just a deafening, heavy silence. Shaken, Archie made his way to the break room. Later, during a short break in his training, he recounted the entire bizarre incident to his new colleagues. He expected them to be confused, maybe even laugh it off. Instead, they just nodded knowingly. "Ah, that's the blue shirt man," one of them said, his voice low. "He's a sort of urban legend around here. Always smiling that creepy smile, always whistling that same song. He shows up to the newer employees, mostly at night. Nobody knows who he really is. A ghost? Some kind of spirit, or maybe something else entirely. The building's been here since it was built, and he's never disappeared." Archie shivered at the thought. A legend, he had just become part of the building's ghost story. From that night onward, he couldn't help but be on edge. He glanced nervously at elevators, at his own reflection in dark mirrors, and at the empty, shadowy corners of the office. He was always half expecting to see that unnerving, impossibly wide smile staring back at him. The constant hum of computers and the sterile glow of the fluorescent lights could drown out the memory of that whistling. That impossible tune that seemed to follow him. Months passed, and thankfully, he never saw the man again. But the legend stayed very much alive. New hires would whisper about him in hushed, nervous tones, swapping stories that seemed too eerie, too specific to be completely made up. Each new telling added another layer of dread to the tale of the blue shirt man. Every now and then, Archie would have to ride the elevator alone. And each time, his heart would race, his breath catching in his throat. He'd remember that grinning stranger and the song that had followed him out of the elevator, a tune that felt less like a melody and more like a chilling warning. In the dimly lit offices of the world, amid the rows of cubicles and the endless ringing of phones, there are watchers, night shift guardians that never leave, unseen by most, but always there, smiling, whistling, and waiting for the next new face, the next person to ride the elevator alone. So, next time you're working late and you step into an empty elevator, take a look in the reflection. You never know who might be smiling back. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the shadows.